Hi, my name is Amina, and this is a video about mental health and young adults. According to Young Minds Charity 2026, mental health can be understood as our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. The next piece of information is from Goddard et al. 2025. In the UK, mental health problems have increased in the last 20 years. This has especially been happening for the younger age group. It is said that a mix of lower population well-being and higher rates of mental ill health. Both issues are more notable within the younger generation. There is not an explanation for this trend. 1 in 5 adults in England is living with a common mental health problem. Mental illness is at high rates, especially with young people. The mental health state of young people is declining. 1 in 5 aged 8 to 25 reported living with a probable mental health problem. This has risen since 2017, aged 7 to 16, which was 1 in 9. For those aged 8 to 16, rates of probable mental health problems were similar between boys and girls, but by early adulthood, a clearer pattern emerges. Among 17 to 25-year-olds, nearly 1 in 3 young women, 31%, had a probable mental health problem, compared to 15% of young men aged 17 to 19 and 13% aged 20 to 25. The COVID-19 pandemic was an isolated time for our lives. There were some mental health consequences from the pandemic. A lot of people had to take care of their own mental health with not that much support. This research from University College London shows us how big these mental health issues were for people. They kept track of 33,000 adults during the first year of the pandemic. This study concluded that 2 in 5 experienced symptoms of anxiety or depression at some point. For some of the people, symptoms lasted a short time, but for some of the symptoms were worse with time, especially during the 2020 to 2021 winter period. The next information is from Liu 2026. Digital behavior has been seen to be a problem. If you use the screen a lot, apparently the outcome of this is anxiety and depressive symptoms. If you use your phone for fun for 2 hours a day, then it is linked with higher distress. Now we know some more about the background of mental health. Let's go on to the interview with a psychology lecturer, Lisa, to find out some more information and advice about mental health and young adults. Please, can you tell me what your current job role is and what you do?
So I'm a programme lead and a senior lecturer, and I work on the Low Intensity Psychological Interventions programme, where I train NHS clinicians to be psychological wellbeing practitioners.
What are the most common mental health challenges young adults face today?
That's quite a big question because mental health can span so many different areas. I think probably anxiety and different anxiety disorders, people will talk about having anxiety, but actually clinically there are lots of different anxiety disorders that people will struggle with. Depression and low mood could be another issue that somebody might struggle with. But there are, as I said, there are lots of different reasons that lead to that. Resilience being one, learning coping skills, and obviously some of the challenges might come from what they're hearing and seeing on social media as well.
Are there any early warning signs you see if someone may be struggling with mental health issues?
Again, there can be lots of different warning signs. If we're thinking clinically, there'll be lots of different diagnostic criteria and timeframes for that. However, if somebody was wanting to monitor their own well-being, it might be changes in their behaviour, changes in their thinking, perhaps thinking slightly more negatively, withdrawing from friends, family, or or feeling less motivated. And they might notice physical sensations such as increased heart rate, if it was anxiety, for instance, depending on the type of anxiety disorder. So there can be lots of things that they could look out for, but I think changes to how they're thinking, how they're feeling physically, their emotions, and what they're doing in terms of their behaviours, either the new things they're doing or things that they've stopped doing, could be the main things to look out for.
Who should young adults speak to first if they think they are suffering with mental health issues?
I suppose somebody that they trust, and ideally dealing with wellbeing. They can obviously speak to an academic tutor who can signpost them to wellbeing. Any of the lecturers, they can directly contact the wellbeing disability team. Again, perhaps friends or family that they trust that would give them the guidance to go to mental health services, or their GP, all of whom can signpost them to NHS Talking Therapies or any local mental health services for their area.
Has there been an increase in mental health issues for young adults since the pandemic?
Again, because I don't work directly with young adults anymore, I couldn't say specifically, but I think the patterns that I've noticed, and from what I'm reading, again, about resilience, because of the lack of connection, certainly if they were school age and they weren't doing their GCSEs in the normal way, it's changed behaviours in terms of socialising for younger adults now, certainly that between 18 to 25 age range. It's just changed practices about what they do, what they're interested in, and how they connect with each other, I think.
Is there anything a young adult can do to improve their mental well-being?
Yes, absolutely. So keeping physically active, making sure they've got connections that they've either through clubs, social networks, keeping on top of deadlines and being organised, eating healthily, sleeping, all of the normal things that we would be advised to do, but absolutely have a direct link to mental health difficulties.
Is there anything a young adult can do to help them while using technology daily?
I think they could probably limit the amount of time that they use. Also think about what they're consuming in terms of technology and certainly social media. And think about having a balance of different activities in their life, so social media, using technology, but also getting out there and doing things physically, getting out and about, out into natural sunlight.
What are the coping mechanisms for stress, academic pressure, or social anxiety during tough periods?
So I think the biggest thing is about recognising it and then talking about it. So speak to the wellbeing disability team, access support where available, look at small goals which the wellbeing team can help with in terms of keeping on top of deadlines, reach out to academic tutors, to your lecturers, because we're here to support you.
That interview was informative from the psychology lecturer, Lisa. This is what I learned from the interview that relates to the information from the beginning of the video. The most common mental health challenges young adults face today are anxiety, anxiety disorders, depression, and low mood. Screen time affects young adults because the light is not natural light, which impacts well-being, impacting neurotransmitters to the brain. More screen time means more alone time. When you are not moving your body, you are not generating normal energy levels, normal hormones, and normal neurotransmitters, which help balance well-being. The psychology lecturer Lisa does not work with young adults anymore. She has noticed patterns in how the pandemic has affected young adults, including a lack of connection because the young adults were younger at the time. For example, by not doing their GCSEs in a normal way. This includes changed behaviours with socialising, specifically young adults aged 18 to 25 years old. What they do, what they're interested in, and how they connect with each other has changed. If you're struggling with your mental health, make sure you reach out to people such as your friends, family, or a mental health professional. Thank you.